So in our first video, we explored ways designers can reduce unnecessary mental strain caused by distracting or ineffective instructional choices. Now we're going to focus on a different type of cognitive effort, the mental work learners actually need in order to understand material. This type of effort is called essential processing. It refers to the thinking required to make sense of the main ideas being taught. Unlike unnecessary cognitive load, this is not something we can remove completely because it is part of the learning itself. When information is straightforward, learners can usually process it without much difficulty. Their working memory has enough capacity to organize and absorb the information. The difficulty comes when topics become more advanced or contain many interconnected ideas. As complexity increases, the amount of required mental processing also increases. That demand can quickly push working memory to its limit. This does not mean the instruction is poorly designed. Some material is naturally difficult. However, it does mean instructional designers need to structure learning experiences carefully so learners can process complex information without being overloaded. Two important multimedia learning principles help accomplish this goal. The first is the segmenting principle. This principle suggests that we take complicated information and divide it into smaller sections so that learners can move through at their own pace instead of being presented in one uninterrupted lesson. Here you can see an example of no segmenting. This is a chapter on a college textbook online, and here is a segmented of the same topics. We have drop-down menus, a left sidebar to click on different sections. This is a big content heavy subject that is broken up into smaller parts. When you have shorter modules with clear labels and stopping points, learners know what they have completed, what comes next, and when they are ready to continue. That pacing can reduce overload and gives learners more control over the learning process. The second principle is called pre-training. This principle recommends introducing important vocabulary and foundational concepts before presenting more complicated explanations. Without pre-training, learners may encounter a complex diagram or system filled with unfamiliar terminology all at once. For example, imagine you started a learning module and were given this diagram. Do you know what PPE is? Do you know what it means to look up the SDS? Their working memory must simultaneously figure out definitions while also trying to understand how the ideas connect together. That extra decoding process increases cognitive demand before meaningful learning can even begin. Now imagine learners first receive a brief introduction to the important terms and concepts. By the time they see the full diagram, those pieces are already familiar. So, that ends our overview of these two principles. Together, they demonstrate how thoughtful instructional decisions can support learners and understanding. They can also reduce overload during complex instruction. As you design learning experiences, consider whether your choices are helping learners focus on what truly matters, and that idea is what is central to CTML and effective instructional design overall.